Welcome to the Corporate to Coach podcast. I'm Pamela, a former corporate professional turned certified life and business coach and mentor. If you're ready to sign clients, grow your soul-led coaching business, and shed the employee identity so you can step fully into business ownership, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Corporate to Coach podcast. Today, I have a very special guest with me. I have my friend and past coach and past client, Shivhan Dohse Morton, with me. She is a manifestation coach, and we are going to talk all things going from corporate to coach and manifestation and building your coaching business. Shivhan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
So give us an introduction about, you're corporate to coach too, like me. Give us a brief overview of your journey that led you into coaching.
Yeah, so I actually had a 9 to 5 for 12 years. So I actually have my master's in music. And right after graduating from my master's, I was offered a job with a flute company. I play flute. That's what I have my master's in. And so they offered me a job in marketing and sales for the brand of flute that I play. And so I actually worked this job for 12 years. And it was national marketing and sales. And so I did a lot of travel. I was traveling on so many weekends, working 9 to 5. So not just a 40-hour week. And then I was rehearsing and having concerts as a musician on top of all this. So I was always gone, so busy. And I remember in my job, I had so many moments where I liked what I was doing, but I also felt like I'm going to be here forever because I don't know how I could ever leave. Like, I don't know what else I could ever do, how that would ever be possible for me. So I'm just going to have to do both jobs and be so busy, basically, like not having vacations because I would take time off of work to play concerts. So it was like work, 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 work. That was my whole life. And then when I was 35, I got married and had a baby. And I was trying to fit this family life into this life that I was always gone, working, 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 working. And so I actually became a coach after my son was born. And it wasn't until he was 18 months, though, because before that, I still felt like I didn't have a choice to leave my 9 to 5. It was like, but I don't know how else I would make money. I'm the breadwinner for our family. My husband was the stay-at-home dad because it made the most sense financially, even though it killed my soul because I just felt like I didn't have this choice. It was like I'm locked in. I just don't know how else it could be any other way. And I was in this box of limitation, of limiting myself and what was possible for me. And so I ended up leaving that job, but not until my son was 18 months. And it was actually a huge manifestation because I would pump overnight, like 2 a.m. in the morning, pumping, like just wishing I could be home with my son, but not seeing how it was possible. And there was a remodel in the office that made me really, really, really sick. And so I ended up, it was like the universe being like, let me just give you the fastest route to being home with your son. So it was like my husband and I switched roles then. He got the full-time job so I could be home with my son. And, but it took that was a manifestation. I didn't know how it was possible. So the universe did at that time what I couldn't do for myself. I didn't feel like I had a choice. And it was during that time, I didn't know what else I was really going to do. I had no idea what coaching really was. But during that time, I was just researching positive quotes and I was researching things about mindset and things about forgiveness. And I had a lot of things that were limiting myself. And I remember on the couch just sitting there researching, how do I forgive? And Wayne Dyer coming up. And I was like soaking in all this mindset stuff. And really, coaching just found me. And it really helped me through that transition because I had a lot of my identity wrapped up in my 9 to 5. I had been doing it for 12 years, ever since I got out of school. So I didn't know anything else. And so I started finding things about coaching. And every time there was this nudge of, what is this? Wait, what is this? Wait, what is this? And I just kept going down every single nudge that came in. And eventually it was like, I feel like I'm going to be a coach, but could I be a coach? I don't know how I could be a coach. What would I coach people on? I have no idea what I even would even say. And like, it was very much at the time, I didn't know that that was even possible for me too. So now I've been a coach for, what is this, my sixth year?
Mm.
But if you would have told me at that time, 6 years from now, you are going to be having an amazing coaching business. You're going to have been home with your son, playing concerts all over, and having this amazing freedom in your life where, I remember I used to just wish I could go outside when I was at that job.
Mm.
And now, like, I can go on nature trails during the week, during the weekday, anytime. I have so much more freedom. If you would have told me during that time this is what I was going to be doing, it would have been like, wait, what? Oh my gosh, what? And so coaching, I always say that I found me because it was really just divine timing, but it really helped me see that anything is possible. Absolutely anything that you desire is possible. We are the ones that place our own limitations on. I was placing my limitation that I could never leave my 9 to 5 because that's what I believed. And whatever you believe is what becomes true for you. You are creating this limitation in your mind, which then, therefore, is what you see in your reality. And so, through the journey, coaching was such a gift for me because it helped me see, and this is what I help my clients with too, that if you have a desire for something, it's because it's meant for you. And just following the nudges and really tapping into your own self leadership and power to create that. That is the huge part of it, is remembering that we have that power to do whatever it is. We always have a choice. And so, coming from working 9 to 5 for 12 years, feeling like I'm going to be retiring here because I don't feel like there's any other option. Like, how could I do, like, how could I not? I don't even know. Giving my power away to no, 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 no. We get to create whatever it is we want, and bringing full limitlessness back to what you see in your outer reality because of what you've created on your inner reality.
I love everything about this story. So much of what you say resonates with me on so many levels. I remember being in my corporate office. I used to look outside and just wish I could just be outside while I'm
Yeah.
plugging away at my computer. And I just didn't know how. I didn't know how. You're right. Like when I looked at 6 years from now, I would never have guessed this is what it would look like. But
Mm,
that desire, it is telling us something. It's a communication from source. It's magic. You mentioned Wayne Dyer as well. I have
mhm.
the book you sent me still here, like pride of place.
Oh my
The
gosh.
book, Siobhan sent this to me many moons ago, The Power of Intention. It definitely is a cornerstone of the way that I think about connecting to source, connecting to universe, connecting to your personal power. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it.
Mm,
It's a
yes.
Siobhan classic, absolutely. One of your, I know, is it still one of your top books?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I have a list of my top books. And I remember when I got that book, I would just like walk around the house like hugging it because it was like this book is everything. And I read it like 3 times in a row. And I remember after I got done reading it the first time, I told my husband, "You have to read this book." And he was like, "Great,
Yes.
I'll read it when you're done." And then I thought, I'm not quite ready to give it to you because I'm going to go back to the beginning and read it again. So I ended up getting him his own copy because I was like, I don't think I can give this to you.
That's so funny. I had my husband read it too, and he loved it. When I read that book the first time and subsequent times, and there's various books that do this. I have this feeling, and I feel like I'm going to church when I read it. And it's not that
Mhm.
I did have a Christian upbringing, but that's not a part of my life anymore. But that
Yeah.
feeling of sanctity and that feeling of deep connection. I think when you
Yes.
find a spiritual teacher, whether it's Wayne Dyer or anyone else, or it doesn't have to be a teacher if it's just your connection with source, I think it's just such a powerful thing to connect to. And now I feel that way when I meditate. It's just like, I'm going to go to church. I don't say it all the time, but sometimes I have these moments where I'm like, I'm going to church.
Well,
It's
it
what
is
it feels
because
like.
when you connect to the universe like that, you're connecting to a higher power, which is ultimately connecting to yourself because you are that higher power. So
Mm,
it's the ultimate connection.
it is. It really is. Okay.
Yeah.
We could go down the manifestation route, but I want to hold that for a little bit later. I have some more
Yep.
questions on behalf of our listeners about life now versus 9 to 5. Hearing you retell the story, it's like throwback to our coaching days because we have coached each
Mm.
other many a time over the years. You have been my coach, I've been your coach. I love it. A piece of wisdom for those listening who are still in the 9 to 5 and they are building their coaching business. If they have that feeling of like, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I really want it, and it's either not happening fast enough or I'm not there yet. What are your thoughts on that with knowing what you know now?
There's a couple of things. Knowing what I know now about becoming a coach and leaving the 9 to 5, not feeling like I had a choice, you have to really remember that it's not all on your shoulders.
Mm,
Back in those days, I thought it was all up to me to figure every single thing out, and that felt so overwhelming. I didn't know how to figure that all out. I felt like I had to know everything in order to actually take the step. And I ended up leaving that job without knowing anything because the universe was like, you don't need to know anything. I got you. And we have to remember this at all times, that it's not just on our shoulders. When we set out, I know that I don't want this, but I don't know exactly what this other thing is. You just have to know that you don't want this. This is what I don't want. Okay, so if I know what I don't want, that gives me a glimmer of something that I do want, which is not that.
mm,
So if I tap into, well, what would this feel like if I had this? And you tap into the feeling of it, and you tap into the universe being a co creation in this process, and basically placing your order with the universe of like, I want I want the perfect work for the perfect work for the perfect pay for the perfect service in the perfect way. Like whatever that is, like you're placing an order. And you don't have to know exactly what that is or what this even first step or even seventh or eighth step is. Because when you connect to, well, I know I don't want this, but I want something over here. So, hey, universe, I'm going to order this over here. Help me connect the dots. And you will receive a nudge. You just have to be open to it, because sometimes we forget there's a nudge and we fall back into, but I don't want this. And this is all I'm thinking about, the fact that I don't want this. And then you miss the nudge because you're in your lane of what you don't want. So, like, it's like, okay, I know I don't want this. So I'm going to be cool with this for a moment because I've already decided I don't want it, which means I know something else is coming. And so then you have to be open to the nudge. The nudge could be you overhear a conversation. You're like, oh my gosh, that's a coach that I think I need to hire. Or you have a nudge to call a specific person or pick up a specific book or something that's going to lead you to the next thing, to the next thing. You don't have to know all the steps. You just have to know the next step. And it's not all on your shoulders. The universe sends you the next step. And it's just like you take a step, the universe takes a step. You take a step, the universe takes a step. And that's how the path comes about. And so it's remembering you don't have to do it all on your own. You don't even have to know exactly what this looks like. You just have to know that there is a this.
yeah,
And that's what you connect to.
I can confirm all of this is exactly how it happens. Like so many things from the bigger picture stuff, like as an example in my life, moving to Australia, that is a big deal. And it was just a nudge. It was just a
Yeah.
random thing that dropped in one day. I'm moving to Australia. I don't even know where that came from. And then a few years later, it happened. And then in the smaller scale, it's like, okay, what am I going to post today? And it's that
Mhm.
connection with self where the nudge comes in. Sometimes it's an external nudge, like a piece of inspiration or something a client says, and you're just like, oh, and that stays with you and you want to like share it. And other
Mhm.
times it's more of just a knowing, but you have to be able to take the time to listen and be
Yep.
open to that, which I think can create, if we're not careful, we can create a lot of noise and we can stunt those nudges and stop that direction coming in if we're not careful.
Yes, and that brings up a really good point, is always making sure you actually take action on the nudge.
Mm,
You actually take action, even when it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know why I have this nudge, but I do, so I'm going to do it. And you actually do it because that in and of itself builds self trust, And a lot of this process is building that self-trust, the self-trust within yourself and within the universe, that the universe and you have this co-creation together. So when you do get the nudge, don't brush it off. Don't be like, well, that doesn't make any sense, or, well, I'm scared. And sometimes you are going to be scared with these nudges, but that's how we grow, and that's how we start shifting things behind the scenes that then creates the thing that we want. So just know those nudges are absolutely divine.
Mm. And what would you say to the person who is a little bit frustrated, feeling like they've tried and they've done that? And there is, I mean, I have views on it because
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
something that comes up a lot with my clients too. I know I've felt the frustration of wanting something so badly and feeling like you've tried the things. So maybe for the person who is visible, who is putting themselves out there, who is investing in the coaches, where do you think is it a gap? Is it that they're doing it wrong? What are your, because I mean, I know when I last hired you, that was where I was. I was 4 years into my 4 or 5 years into my business, and so I was no
Mhm.
stranger to the techniques, and my mindset's pretty strong. I've done the healing work. My business was already very established. So what would you say to that person?
Yeah, definitely there is a gap. And the gap is you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you expect.
Mm.
So there's a difference between wanting it and between expecting it. And expecting it means that it's already done, it's already yours. You already know that it's coming because you've ordered it. It's like this is a really good example. It's like when you're going to go grocery shopping, you're sitting and you say you get this nudge to get some strawberries. You're like, I don't know what is going on, but I am jonesing for some strawberries. You like put the strawberries in the list. Now you could say, well, I hope they have strawberries, but they're probably not going to have strawberries because that's just my luck. And so I should just probably not even go to the store. I'm just not even going to go. Or you could go to the store and be like, no, I've decided I'm getting strawberries. I've ordered strawberries from the universe like it's inevitable. I am getting the strawberries. And you go to the store and they don't have strawberries. And you're like, oh my gosh, I ordered strawberries. Now I'm going to go home and I'm not going to eat the strawberries I thought I was going to eat. Now my whole, like, I can't believe this. This is my luck. And you shift your vibration and you shift your expectancy because the store didn't have strawberries. Now, if you would have kept in the expectancy that just because this store doesn't have strawberries doesn't mean I'm not going to have strawberries. Most people, this is where they fall out of in the gap. Their expectancy changes because there's a circumstance that comes up that pulls them out. But if you would have kept your expectation, then all sorts of things would have changed. Like when you got home, the neighbor knocks on the door and says, we're going on vacation and we just bought this huge thing of strawberries. Can you please take our strawberries? Or your partner calls you and is like, hey, I stopped at the store randomly on the way home and they have this big sale on strawberries. If you keep your expectation, even when you're in a situation where you quote unquote see it's not working, the strawberries are still coming in a different way. You just don't know what the way is. You thought it was going to be from the store, this one specific store that you went to. And then when they weren't there, you lost your belief and your expectation. But if you keep your expectation, the universe is still going to fulfill your order. It just is not going to be from that store. It's going to be from all these, or you have the nudge to take a different way home and there's a strawberry stand on the road and you're like, oh, like that's why it wasn't at the store because these are the strawberries to get. This is the one the universe is like, no, it's these don't have any chemicals. They're like the best strawberries. They're fresh this morning. So it's really the difference between what you want and what you expect, and you have to keep your expectation no matter what store you've gone to. That it's like, I don't know about this store, but I know I'm getting strawberries. Like, I just know.
Yeah. And I have to ask, because I mean, you've dealt with me being the way I am for the last 6 years. So I know you can handle it. But you're a pro for a reason. But my analytical brain is like, okay, so If this was me and I wanted strawberries, I'd hold the expectation. There's no strawberries. I'll maintain my optimism, my positivity. I won't let the expectation drop. But I could be driving home and I'll drive by a fresh blackberry farm. This literally happened. I'm just remembering now living in New Zealand, this kind of thing would happen regularly. I'd go on a hunt literally for fresh strawberries when it's strawberry season. I'd miss the turning, I'd be in the wrong place. Next thing you know, I've stumbled upon a different fruit farm and they're selling fresh blackberries. And if you come upon such farms, any listeners who are in South New Zealand, you can attest to this. It is divine, and the blackberries will be just
Mm.
as exquisite as the strawberries could have been. So sometimes it's this or better. But does
Yes.
that count? Did it still work, or would you say that actually that was bringing in a different desire? What are your thoughts on that?
That is when you you're not married to the strawberries being from a specific store and then being strawberries. It's always this or something better.
Yeah.
Like, so those blackberries being on the road is because the universe is like, oh, I know you ordered strawberries, but I've got something so much better for you. So in that sense, it does still work because we don't want to limit ourselves. Because if it's the same thing with money or with clients where it's like, I'm gonna manifest $1,500 and it's gotta be just $1,500. And then the universe is like, well, dang, we were gonna send you 3,000, but I guess you're so stuck on 1,500. It's
Yeah.
like we're always like, it's a co-creation in that sense. And so we do want to allow the universe to co-create. But it's not like we're gonna give up the 1,500. Like we're not gonna give up the strawberries. It's gonna be something.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be, if it's not strawberries, it's the blackberries, or if it's not 1,500, like I am open to more. So it's
Mm.
always keeping that next level that we can't see because we can't see it. So we've got to keep it open.
And it's interesting one, I'd love to know if you've experienced this too, but the whole idea of like quantum leaping and having these huge quantum leaps in your business where, I go from like a, a 3K month and then one day I had my first like 10K month. I'm like, oh my God, it's a quantum leap. Or like my first 15K month and it's like, okay, shit, something magic really happened here. And I see this a lot with my clients. You can have these quantum leaps happen
Mhm.
and the expectation is so low that they can't replicate it or they can't repeat that. So then it does feel like a fluke. I think it's when you go from what you're used to and what you're therefore unconsciously quite comfortable with, whether it's the struggle, whether it's getting crickets on your content, whether it's not seeing the visibility or the clients or the consults that you want, whether or not you know it, you kind of subconsciously normalize that. And then when something magic does happen, if we don't know how to connect to it, we will just go back to homeostasis and go back to our baseline and what we always know. So let me get to an actual question for you, Siobhan. Is this reminding you of our coaching when I'm just
I love it.
waffling on?
I love this.
My question for you is, if a quantum leap does happen and there is magic that is afoot, and that isn't our norm, how do we then stabilize that when we're so used to it not being this good?
Yeah. It's such a thing because we've got to calibrate to it. We've
Yeah.
got to normalize it. And that's an identity shift. That's a huge identity shift. And you can only be what you see yourself to be. You can only attain what you see yourself attaining. And so if you are jumping from 1K, 2K, 3K to 10K, you are not necessarily calibrated in the identity of someone who makes 10K. And so this is something where it's like, this is where we've got to get calibration is basically like we have gotten our energy on board so that we just see ourselves as someone who makes 10K. We see ourselves as this is the normal thing for me. It's like when you are building your income and if you're at 2 or 3K, 10K might seem really far away. Like that's just too far for my nervous system to go. And so sometimes you do normalize incrementally in a sustainable way. So your self-concept is how you manifest in a sustainable way. Otherwise, you will just have these jumps because it's not based on your self concept. You don't see yourself as someone who can manifest that 10K every single month. It's like a one time thing. It's like, for example, if you decide you're going to manifest a bag, like a really expensive bag, as this, you've always wanted one, and you go into the store, but you don't see yourself as someone who would buy a bag like that. Like you're just kind of manifesting a bag. You're not someone who buys a bag like that.
Mm.
But when you walk into the store and you see yourself as someone who buys a bag like that, they're treating you differently. They're like, what can we get you? What do you need? Like this one would be great on you because you are in the identity that I am someone who buys a bag like this versus I'm going to go in and get the bag and then I'm out. Or, there's a different energy to that. And so it's calibrating to the energy of this is normal for me. I am someone who manifests this bag. I am someone who holds the 10K months because that's just who I am. And so your self concept is how you see yourself, but then it's also the thoughts that you're having. So if you're used to, like, for example, if you're used to saying, when you're looking at your story views to see how many people are looking at your story views, and you're like, they keep watching and no one is buying, like that's a self concept. Like all these little thoughts are creating your self concept versus everyone who watches my stories loves what I have to say, and eventually every single one of these people are going to buy. Like that's a different energy. And that not only shifts what actually happens in your outer reality, but it changes how you show up, changes how you feel, and it changes how you show up to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So it's not only the way that you see yourself, but it's
Mm.
the way you think other people are seeing you too. There's so
Yeah,
many layers to it. And so it's really rooted in that identity, how you see yourself and how you think other people see you.
agreed. And this theme of self-concept, identity, it is, I mean, it's, if anybody's been listening to the podcast, this comes up continuously in business. There is, of course, actions that you can take, but every action is permeated by who you're being when you do it. And I loved the example you gave of story views because it is such a neutral thing. Whether it's
Mm-hmm.
10 people looking, whether it's 85 people looking, whether it's 150 people looking, what you make that mean is everything. And it sounds like you're just reporting the news, right? You can look at a number and be like, oh, it is what it is. But however you feel about that is actually your self-concept at play. So it
Yep.
sounds like you're just stating a fact, and actually you're not. So for our listeners, if it's story views, if it's whether or not somebody booked a consult, whether somebody said yes or no on a call, or whether somebody DM'd you and was like, "Hey, how much is this?" and then they ghost you. And if you're making that mean, oh, nobody ever says yes, nobody ever responds to me, or they're just time wasters, or nobody's really listening, nobody's really watching, it seems like you're just reporting based on what you see, but actually you're actually sharing your self concept when you do that. You're showing where your identity is at.
Right. And from a manifestation standpoint, what you see in your circumstances is old news based on what you were manifesting before. So you are basically saying the news of what you manifested before, but what you are manifesting to come is what you're doing in this moment. So
Mm.
although you think you're describing what's going on, you're actually describing the old news, and by describing the old news, you're creating that news to continue to be old because whatever you are describing is what you're creating. So if that's the case, it's like, okay, well, maybe in the past that was true, but that's not what I'm creating right now, because I realize that what I'm doing in this present moment and the thoughts and the meanings that I'm making is what I'm creating. And I'm going to create that everyone in my story views buys.
Yeah.
Like that's what is it that I want to create? I want to create that people actually sign up, that people actually really love what I have to say, that the thing that I was afraid of saying, the one person is like, I'm so glad you said that because that was just the best. And so it's remembering that whatever is in your current reality is old news. So in order to create something different, you can't repeat the news over and over and over because then that's just you're watching the same episode of the news over and over and over. And we want to get new news, right? But we've got to
Mm,
create it. We never want to think about, well, I'm just describing my reality, but whatever you're describing is also determining your reality. So that's why I'm so careful. If you ever notice people who aren't in the personal growth world, when you ask them what's been new with you, they always say the worst thing that has been going on with them.
mm,
Like, well, this happened and this happened. And I'm always very, very careful to, okay, what do I want to say to these people? Because I actually want to be responding with what I'm creating, because that's what I want to be speaking into existence. Because I don't want to actually put more focus on what I don't want, because what you focus on is what you're creating. So if I don't want that, why would I want to focus on that?
mm,
I'm gonna talk about, you know what? I'm in the process of building a business, and I'm in the process of creating this program, and it's just so exciting to think about all the people that are going to sign up. And I'm just in creation mode, and I'm seeing, what's going to unfold, because I know it's going to be incredible, because anything is possible. And so you answer the question like that, and you have a completely different conversation, and then you're actually cementing in what you're creating more and more and more. And you're actually doing that on a self concept level too, because now you're seeing yourself more and more as someone who is creating that. It's not just an idea. Well, I'm going to be this person that creates it. No, I actually am, because I've talked about it so much that I actually have impressed my subconscious mind with it. And I've shared it with other people. So now they see me that way too. And so it's like you have all these opportunities at any time of the day that you actually don't think are important, but they are. It's like, well, I'm just going to tell this person about that no one signed up the last time I did this, whatever. But that's actually a moment where you're defining your future and your reality. So we have these opportunities and these golden nugget moments that we can actually create gold out of if
mm.
we are intentional about it.
Such a powerful example. For the person who is feeling like a failure, who is feeling shame about the results that they haven't achieved, and that feeling is very real, like it's a very real and quite heavy emotion. Manifestation is absolutely like positive thinking, being optimistic, but being very mindful about the way that you talk about your experiences, what you're calling in, being very intentional with your thoughts and holding that energetic. But what about alchemizing very real, very difficult emotions like failure and shame for not having the success that you hoped you had, and holding the weight of unmet expectations? You've given us some incredible insight about how to shift moving forward. But I
Mhm.
know from personal experience and work I do with my clients and the work that you've done with me that we do need to sometimes sit with our emotions, and because in order to get to a place to manifest, we need to move through what is
Yes.
weighing us down.
Absolutely. So a lot of people think manifestation is I'm just high vibe all the time, like, and it's spiritual bypassing and toxic positivity. I if I'm not high vibe all the time, I've failed. I'm not doing it right. There's something wrong with me. And the way that we want to focus on this is when we have something that's not high vibe, we want to process it and release it. And that's how we get back to being high vibe. It's not like we put high vibe over top of it and we push it down because we don't know how to deal with it. We don't know how to process it. So I'm just going to be high vibe because I just don't even know. We've got to actually release it so that our frequency actually is high vibe. It's how we respond to it so that we can come back to the high vibe. It's not about erasing it. There's a couple of things to this. One, we've got to soothe ourselves. We never want to shame. We never want to beat ourselves up. You know what? It's understandable I would be upset about that. Of course. I put a lot of time into this. This is something I was really going for. I put a lot of my energy into it and my focus. And of course, I would be upset about something like that. You've got to allow yourself and kind of talk to yourself as though, so I have a son, what you would say to someone really little. Like, say you have a niece or someone who's 3 or 4, and you'd say, like, well, of course you're upset that the ice cream fell on the ground. Like, I would be upset about that too. That's like upsetting. And you allow them to feel their feelings. If you're just like, oh, it's fine, the ice cream, it happens to everybody, and just, oh, come on, you're fine. That little child is like, I don't know how to feel right now. And I guess I'm just being taught to bottle it in and I'm supposed to just be happy right now. Like, I don't really, this is complicated. And so you've got to do that for yourself. Like, of course I would be upset. And so when we do that, we soothe ourselves instead of shaming ourselves. And when we soothe ourselves, we're giving ourselves permission to feel that, okay, you know what? I was disappointed about that, and that's okay. And then once you release that emotion and you soothe yourself, because whenever someone soothes you, doesn't it feel so much better? You're like, oh, all right, I just needed that cry. I needed to let it out. I just, like, if you need to cry, if you need to punch a pillow, if you need to jump up and down, like, did you notice animals, like, they shake it
Mm,
out
yeah.
and then they're back. So you've got to move that energy and that emotion, because that emotion is energy that's pent up. You've got to move it. And then this is how we use our triggers to transform our growth and get back to high vibe, because then we can logically say, because when emotions are high, logic is low. So we've got to deal with the emotion first. Then we can logically say, okay, but what was I believing in this scenario? What was I assuming? Was I assuming the worst case scenario? Was I assuming something about myself that wasn't even true, or something about someone else? And what was I believing here? And then you can journal it out. You can just have a conversation with yourself, but you realize, oh my gosh, I was believing utter BS here. Like,
Mhm.
this was, I can't believe I was thinking this about myself. And you say, like, is this the ultimate truth? Is this true? And pretty much every time it's not. It's a limitation we've created, or it's some sort of criticism, or lack. And so, well, if this isn't true, then what is the ultimate truth? The ultimate truth is, I'm incredible. I can create whatever it is that I want. I actually have choice. I actually have so much more, so much more possibility of what I could be thinking here. Okay, so what is it that I want to be thinking here? Well, I want to be thinking that I can create this, that I'm capable of calling in whatever it is, that the universe is going to support me, that if I want to manifest clients, I can. And I'm not just going to manifest clients, I'm going to manifest the clients who are meant to work with me. The clients that are my match. I'm going to create a signal that blacks out all these other ones, because my energy is my number one asset, and those people are not, they're not my match. But I'm going to signal the people that are my match, and that's what I'm going to create. And it's good for them and it's good for me. And so I'm going to create something that's good for everybody, because these other people, it's not good for them to work with me. It's not good for me to work with them. So I'm not going to focus on them, because they're not the ones to focus on, because I'm in alignment with what's divine for me. And that's the truth, is that I am a creator. I'm worthy. I am talented. I can create whatever it is that my heart is calling me to. I get to focus on that. I have limitless possibilities of how that can come out. I just have to get clear on what I want. And it's this type of client and this type of relationship. And I'm going to help them do this. And that's going to be so amazing.
That inner dialogue is invaluable. That is literally the work, right? In a nutshell, everything we have discussed. And the more you allow yourself to go through that process, I guess we could call it a
Mm-hmm.
process in some ways,
It is.
because at
Yeah.
first, when you're newer to this manifestation work, it is like one step at a time. Recognize what emotion you're feeling. Is it something that is serving you? Is it what you want? And then if it isn't, alchemize it, recognize it, talk to yourself the way you would a child. It's probably your inner child that's actually playing up anyway, right? And I say playing
Mm-hmm.
up, having this emotional experience. Give him, her the validation they need, and then move through it. And then I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure you have. I know I've certainly found over our work together and doing this process over and over again, for some things, they are bigger and I need to really slow down and take the time to be with myself. And other times, this dialogue and everything that you just said is happening almost
Yes.
instantly. It's just like oh, whoops, like I grabbed the wrong ingredient. Like I just need to swap it out. But sometimes you have to like slow down, take an hour,
Mm-hmm.
take a day. But
Yep.
the more you do this, this is what resilience is. This is what emotional emotional intelligence, could
Yeah,
we
emotional
say?
intelligence. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it is like the more we practice this, the quicker we can move through it, alchemize it, and then it becomes a baseline. The self-concept, the identity that you spoke about actually becomes normalized, and then you're raising the baseline. I'm certain all of our listeners would have experienced this to some level. You're going from corporate to coach now, or you've
Mhm.
made that transition, but there was a different level of capability and capacity with this when we first started doing this 6 years ago to now.
Mhm.
I know for a
Yes.
fact, even me now versus me last year, I'm so much faster at this. And it isn't that it's not okay to sit with sad emotions or negative emotions, but ultimately they rarely serve you. You can still have a very clean
Mhm.
relationship with it. You can still be very powerful in sadness,
Mhm.
in grief, especially. Grief is a different type of emotion again, but in failure or shame, I find the minute you can be very honest about that, because shame is such a sneaky emotion. I think failure is too, but I find failure is often doused in shame. I find that if I've ever felt failure in the past, it's often the judgment I have of myself for being in
Mhm.
that failure.
Yes, that's exactly.
The minute I recognize that, that's when it's like now I've got a clean line to it. I'm able to work with it. But until you're not naming it or realizing it's there, it's actually in control of you. And that's the
Right.
biggest skill I found, is being able to recognize when that's taken over.
Yes, exactly. Because you are meant to feel all of these emotions. We're not, we're human. We're meant to. We're supposed to get certain things and certain ideas from being in certain emotions and certain growth. It's when we let that emotion take our power away by judging ourselves for having the emotion. That's when we just complicated it. We're
Mm.
punishing ourselves for having an emotion. But you can be sad and powerful at the same time if you're not punishing yourself for feeling sad.
Yes.
It's when you're punishing yourself for feeling sad, you take your power away, and then it's harder to get out of because you've complicated all of the emotions. You're not just sad. Now you're sad and you're upset about being sad and you're shaming yourself for being sad. And now it's complicated and you've got to work the layers out versus I'm sad. What is this teaching me? What was I like going through the process, but you're doing it in your power. And that's what you get to once you start doing it, because I know when I first started doing it too, I didn't have that awareness. But the more and more you do this, the more you build your personal power. Your power is not circumstantial. It's not when I have a client sign up, now I feel powerful. No, you feel powerful whether you have a client or not.
Mm.
That's your personal power. And that's, you feel powerful no matter what emotion you're in as well. No matter what the circumstances are, no matter what emotion, I can be frustrated and powerful because I'm deciding with my awareness what I'm going to do about it. So that is like the ultimate goal. It's not, the ultimate goal is not to always have unicorns and rainbows every day. It's like we're meant to have these emotions, but we're meant to have them in our power. And that is what is going to change things on so many levels. Whether you're still in your 9 to 5, whether you are a coach, it's like, well, I can still be in my 9 to 5 and know I'm moving into a coach in my power.
So good. If people want to work with you, Siobhan, so that they can really up level their manifestation game and really embody and raise their self concept and identity with all the things that we discussed today, what is the best way to work with you and how can they find you?
Yeah, so I have multiple levels of investment, multiple levels of access to this work. So I have some programs that are digital that you get instant access to. I have manifestation programs that are centered around different areas of your life. Some are around money, some are around receiving, some are around your relationships, I have a manifestation morning routine that's really, really powerful. I'm currently doing a money manifestation program called Limitless. That one is currently running right now, and I'm going to run it multiple times this year. And I also have my one-to-one private coaching. So that is, you get access to me, like the ultimate access, but you also get all of my programs as well. And then I have Limitless Mastermind, where you're really integrating these concepts on a mastermind level. So you can do either private coaching, where you have very personalized the mastermind where you are still getting personalized coaching, but just in a group setting, or the trainings of my group programs, which are all digital. I also just did my first retreat in Costa Rica, which was absolutely incredible. So there will be another one coming back. I don't have dates set for that yet, but that is going to be something that I do regularly. You can always DM me on socials if you're like, I don't know which one to do, I don't know where to start. You can ask me. I can go back and forth. I can recommend things. But really just remembering that you have a choice in all of it. You have a choice in every single moment of your day, how you're going to see it, what you're going to think about it, what you're going to do about it, how you're going to move forward, what you're actually creating. Just remember you have this choice at all times, and you get to call on that, and you get to also lean on the universe to come in and do the universe's part. Because I know if you are in your 9 to 5, you're becoming a coach, you're a high achiever. If you're with Pamela, you don't have to do it all. You have choice, but you also have the unlimited resources of the universe to come in. So with you, how amazing you are, and the universe, like, it's just incredible what you can create. So just remember, you get to tap on both your power and the universe's power, and that is the ultimate limitlessness.
So magical. And where can they find you? What's your website or Instagram or
Yep. So my
socials?
Instagram is I am Shivhan. So all you have to do is know how to spell my name, which is the trickiest part. Shivhan, which will be in the show notes too, I'm sure. I am Shivhan on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm Shivhan Dohse Morton. My website is iamshivhan.com. My door is always open. I just want to see all of you win. And I've gone through the journey of going from 9 to 5 to becoming a coach. And it's just the life that I'm living now is completely opposite of what I've done or what I was living before. And just know that you get to do whatever it is that you want to do, and you know what it is that you want to do.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for joining me today. I have loved having you talking all things manifestation and going from corporate to coach. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining. If you want to connect with me, my links are in the show notes, and you can find me at www.coachingwithpamela.com. All right, that's a wrap. I'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.